Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So welcome to the second part of the Dita challenge. In this part, I'm going to show you guys how I lived basically the afternoons and evenings of the Dita challenge. The Dita challenge was super fun and I'm glad you guys stuck with it with me. So basically there's a lot of things that I would do variations of during the day. I did different meals during the 2 weeks and they were all basically plant-based because I don't eat meat anyways, but either does she, unless she has it locally sourced, and usually it's a really fine cut of meat, or when she's traveling, which I thought was super interesting. And I did post that, or I did say that in my last video, but when I talk about my dinners, I did film one dinner. I'll post a couple pictures of a couple other dinners that I had, but mostly just plant-based meals that were super clean, or as clean as I could get them. No, I didn't have any candy or any sweets, but I do show you guys the sweet tooth elixir that she does talk about. And then also I did do the workouts for 5 times a week. And at first they only took me about 20 minutes, but then I added I adjusted them, so they took me an hour. And yeah, so I also incorporated some of my other just hanging out, waiting for, to do the next sort of thing, talking about a few of my favorite things that are related to vintage lifestyle and sort of what I like when it comes to this vintage sort of thing. So just hanging out and just chatting and stuff. Also with the Dita challenge, I did show you guys in the last video that I had the morning ritual down to a science, but then when you got to the oats, which is what I showed you guys last time, but I didn't give you the recipe. The recipe was cardamom, cinnamon, a teaspoon of organic maple syrup, and then quick oats. And then what you can do is that, she says this in the book, is that you can actually, before you cook the oats, you make a steeped tea, and you can use a black tea. So I was just using a black tea that was called maple chai. And so I made a black tea with that, and then I cooked the oats in the tea, so it adds a little extra flavor. And then I sprinkled a little bit of cinnamon and a little bit of cardamom, and then I put a teaspoon of organic maple syrup, and it was super good, you guys. You have no idea. I had it hot the first week, and then the second week I made it as an overnight oat with a little bit of chia seeds, and it was so good. But it was super filling. I don't actually usually have oats in my day, so incorporating oats as basically the mid-morning snack, it kept me full probably till late afternoon. So it was running into a problem creating dinner. So I was actually eating dinner super early. It was more of a lupper, a lunch and supper put together, and then I would be kind of snacking in the evening. So what I ended up doing by the end of the week, or the end of the second week, is I started making vegetarian charcuterie boards, or charcuterie boards. I think it's charcuterie boards, were basically, and I'll show you guys kind of how I made them too. I incorporated some protein sources that were plant-based or just non-meat-based, and then I had a bunch of other things that I could just snack on. So my my supper, lunch, supper, late lunch, early supper was something I could just kind of snack on. And then also I thought it kind of went with a Parisian style. I don't know, actually I don't even know if charcuterie boards are Parisian, they're probably not, but it just kind of seemed like something that she would probably go for, something you could just pick up and snack, and then just take your time while you're drinking your wine or your champagne, or in my case I was drinking tea. You could just pick up and munch. And so what I would do is I'd make a charcuterie board for the lunch and supper, and then I'd make a mini one during the evening if I was still kind of hungry, because you run into that weird gray area before you go to bed because you ate supper far too early, and then you go to bed pretty hungry. So I started doing that, and that really helped, because then I kind of got down to a thing, or got down to a schedule for eating. Sure, she has different different meals that she has and stuff, but with this kind of weird time where there is no set schedule, I was running into, I'm well, do I have an actual supper at 9 o'clock at night, or maybe I'll just have a couple munchies and you know, healthy plant-based munchies. So I was turning to unprocessed foods, you know, just to kind of keep me full. So I have filmed those for you too. So in the workouts, usually, because in the book it kind of states that she does her workouts during the morning or the day, I ended up doing them more at night. After that, you know, I had done stuff during the day. If I had to go grocery shopping, I would go grocery shopping and all that stuff, and then I would do cleaning and laundry and whatever I had to do, maybe binge watch some Netflix a little bit. But then like in the evening, I would do the workouts. So that way, after I was done the workout, I could put my hair in rollers and then head to bed. Also, if I was doing like the bougie bath, I call it the bougie bath because it just seems really bougie, but I like it. After the bougie bath, I would work out and then I have a bougie bath, because then it would just like kind of like, you know, kind of help the muscles and everything, and it was a perfect ending to the day. Stay tuned, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you again. And also stay tuned to the very end, you guys, because I talk about the Instagram contest that I'm having. The draw is happening May 31st, and you can enter today. The rules are super simple, so please stay tuned, and I will post the instructions down below, but also I'm going to post them on the end of the video. So please enter. It's an international contest. If you do win, I can mail your prizes to you, so please enter. I want to see what you guys are coming up with. I'd vlog out here today because it's so nice, and I'm just like sitting and listening to music and having a couple snacks and enjoying the sun, of course with SPF, because you want to make sure you don't get burned or have any sun damage or anything, because that can be super detrimental to your skin over time. And I've got two cats in my patio right now, and they're hanging out, Egon and Frankie. Lydia's inside feeling left out. She's like meowing, and I don't know why. So going back to like the self-care part of the Dita challenge, I've just been kind of like analyzing it and just kind of going through like what I'm experiencing with the challenge. Taking that extra time and just like making sure you're present in the moment and taking every moment and using it to your full advantage, which I think is super important right now. Is considering that we have so much time expendable right now, we're forced to stay in our homes and not do anything. So I thought that was kind of cool. I've been like just kind of brushing up on my music, and I just remembered that I have a couple cool albums that I think that are notable and people should look into. I don't know if anybody's like, of course, if you're in the rockabilly, into rockabilly music and you're familiar with like the bands in those decades, you're gonna obviously know Johnny Cash. But a lot of people don't know that in like the later years of his life, after like he lost his wife and everything, he produced a few albums, like the American recordings. I believe they're called. And I just know a little bit about them because I ended up picking up a book blindly and buying it thinking it was about Johnny Cash, but it actually wasn't about his life per se. It was called The Resurrection of Johnny Cash, and I can't remember who it was written by. I'll post it down below, or I'll find a link for it somewhere. And it was the driest book I've ever read. I actually couldn't even finish it. I think I got like 3/4 of the way finished the book, and I had to put it down because it was just so dry. Because it was basically, I think it was written for people who were super into music and music nerds, because it was just name drop, and then it'd go down a spiral of different musicians and whatnot, and like their relevance, or yeah, how they were relevant into the story, and it just became too much, so I ended up having to put it down. Basically the book was about how in the later years of Johnny Cash, he was found by a recording studio, and they decided that he had lost kind of like his spotlight, I guess, because obviously in the 80s and 90s he kind of just disappeared, because, you know, obviously rockabilly kind of went out the window, and the grunge and punk and everything kind of came forth and whatnot. So anyway, so they found him and they pulled him into the recording studio, and like there was a lot of people like with him at that time who helped him build American recordings. I think there's like 4 or 5 albums that he ended up producing with that crew, and one of them was like Tom Petty and a bunch of other really cool ones. So he ended up like just basically doing a bunch of he did a bunch of cover songs on those, and he ended up winning quite a few awards, I think, on the one for sure. And that's where he came up with his notable songs. And a lot of people think he wrote those songs, but he didn't. He actually just covered them. But the thing is, I heard this in the Tom Petty documentary, when Tom Petty said if you let Johnny Cash sing any of your songs, they aren't your songs anymore, they become his, because of how he makes them his own, and they're so uniquely his that people really forget about the original, and they just think that he wrote it. So in a way you have to give up your creative stamp on it, because his version then takes over, which I think that's kind of cool. I always thought that was neat that he had the ability to do that even in his later years when he was in his 80s. So yeah, like the songs like Hurt and If You Could Read My Mind, he sang Solitary Man, he sang Unchained, he sang yeah, like just a ton of them, and I think it's definitely worth checking out. And if you find that book, I'll try to find it and post it for you guys. It's definitely it's worth a look into. It's definitely a dry read. Like I said, I wasn't able to finish it, but I think it's definitely something you guys would be interested in if you haven't read it, or if you're just a collector. I ended up giving it away to somebody so they could read it and add it to their collection. If you actually want Johnny Cash's autobiography, I found that one actually at a used bookstore, and it was just called Cash, and it was written by Johnny Cash, and that one was really cool. I read that one when I lived in Vancouver. I found it at a used bookstore, and I just picked it up, and I think I bought it for like $5, and it took me a few months to read because I only read it when I was on the bus and the SkyTrain. But it was really cool, and it definitely gave you this huge like insight into his life and like everything about him. But Frankie is literally having a heart attack. She just wants to come hang out, so I'm probably have to go sit by her and hang out with her and just enjoy her company, because she's just being a nut. I've got the workout tonight that I have to do, and then I have the bougie bathtub, so I'll make sure to kind of talk about the bathtub and stuff. There's definitely kind of a order of operations that has to happen. It's a very particular bathtub regimen that you have to do. You have to actually clean the bathtub before you even use it. So I have to go in, and she says you have to use just vinegar, so I have to scrub the bathtub with vinegar. But it's so nice out right now. I think I'm going to spend most of my time out here, even just soaking up the sun. Just thought I'd vlog about what I'm making for dinner tonight. Vegetarian, obviously. Charcuterie board? I don't know. So lots of green stuff, broccoli, apples, tzatziki, hummus, baba ganoush, crackers, gluten-free crackers, some hard-boiled eggs. after the bath, I go and make the sweet tooth elixir. I don't know. I started like using the actual recipe that she gave in the book, but then I decided that I like to add a little different. Like I liked a little more cardamom, I liked a little more turmeric. I didn't have any saffron, and I also like cashew milk, so I kind of just adjust it a little bit to my taste buds. But I have this about every other night, depending if I like say want to crave ice cream or something, or if I feel like I need a little comfort instead of going and just having like some chips or something. I'll make myself one of these, and I find that it really does help. So this concludes kind of the 2-week Dita challenge, or the Dita experiment, or whatever it would be. And basically the conclusion that I've got from living like Dita to the T of her book, Your Beauty Mark, is that definitely the glamour side of things is a place of solace. I don't know if that even makes sense, but you can find so much comfort in your routine, and depending on like, you know, your interests and things, I found that like it took a lot of prep work, obviously, like between like the smoothie every morning, the certain drinks, the order of operations that had to be done, and then the workouts and everything. It was definitely, there was a lot of dedication, and then there was but once you found your way into the routine, it became like second nature, and then there was something always to look forward to. So that was kind of cool. I do know like this is obviously an extreme sort of thing. I'm sure she doesn't live her life like this, or maybe she does. It does say in the beginning of the book that the girl that helped her write it was saying like she witnessed that everything in the book is basically exactly how Dita lives her life, and I thought that was kind of cool. And that's also another reason why I wanted to do the challenge, was because I wanted to see like how it what it would be like to have the time to live that certain lifestyle where it was basically all about glamour and vintage enthusiasm, which is what I already really enjoy. But I sometimes I work so much, I never really get the chance to take the bubble baths, to eat the green smoothie every morning, to drink the turmeric tea, to do the Pilates workout 5 to 6 times and stuff. I will say that my core is very strong, and I didn't like, there's no amazing results, like there's no you know, I lost 25 pounds, now I have this amazing hourglass figure. I'm sure over time, if I would have done this over a couple months, I would have seen a lot more difference that way, but that's not what the challenge was about. The challenge was about basically how did I feel internally, which I felt like I felt like a princess. I felt like the Queen of England. Yeah, I don't know. I actually don't know how the Queen of England actually feels, but I felt that my self-care was up here. And usually my self-care is about here, but it was up here. Like I was taking care of my body in such a way that was really to the fullest of extents. Eating properly, getting my grooming in, making sure I felt glamorous all the time. Like, yeah, it made me walk a little bit taller, that's for sure. It gave me something to look forward to, and there's things that in the challenge I'm definitely gonna keep going with, like the green smoothie and everything. It really sets the tone for your digestive tract every single morning. The golden drink, or whatever you want to call it, in the morning, that also really helps. And any sort of pain that I did have, like maybe it was more of a placebo effect, I'm not actually sure, but I felt like that really helped. The thing with the workouts that I'm used to lifting really heavy at the gym, and I'm also used to a lot more cardio at the gym. And I'm not sure if she just gave you kind of a taste of workouts. There were a ton of like exercises in the book. I only showed you guys a few of them because I didn't want to like spend the whole video showing you different types of exercises. Plus, exercising in front of the camera is super awkward. It's no offense to anybody. I don't know if I'm comfortable doing that. Incorporated a lot more cardio. I ended up doing 20 minutes of cardio where it was more of like aerobic, high knees, and jumping jacks. And then I did 20 minutes of the Dita workout, which is a little more my pace because I feel like with my body type, responds well to heavy lifting and cardio. versus the Pilates, it was a high repetition and low weights, and I'm usually doing the opposite. So those exercises, the one exercise is called the corset. It's my favorite, and I felt like that one really made a difference for me personally, and so I'm keeping that one in, and a few others from hers in my everyday routine. I'm going to retire now with my roller set in place, my sweet tooth elixir, watching a couple horror movies because that's how I live my life. On Instagram, I'm having a contest based off this challenge. It's called the Dita Challenge. So if you guys want to head over to my Instagram, there's some really cool prizes, including some rollers, some eyelashes, and some body oil, all themed to this challenge. So head over to my Instagram, Katt Panic Makeup. Check out my post about the challenge. Basically, all you're gonna do, or all you have to do to enter, is post a selfie doing something that I've done during this challenge. Whether you're drinking a sweet tooth elixir, rolling your hair, or if you're doing a exercise that I did, or having a bougie bubble bath, or anything like that. Post a selfie, or even just of what you're doing, and then add the hashtags, hashtag Dita Challenge, and then hashtag Katt Goes Dita, and then tag my Instagram, Katt Panic Makeup, so I know and I can see then I can see your post, and then I can add you, and you can enter as many times as you like. There is one grand prize, 2 second place prizes. So, and if you're international, that's okay. Let me know if you win, and I will mail them out to you. So, all right guys, thank you so much for watching. This has been a super fun challenge, and I challenge all of you guys, if you have the book, or if you just want to kind of challenge yourself to live like your favorite celebrity or your inspiration for a couple weeks. It's super fun, and you kind of get a taste of what it's like to be somebody else for a little while. Awesome. Well, thanks for everything, guys. If you like this video, like, subscribe, and comment down below, and I'll talk to you guys later. All right, cheers, bye.